It has come to my attention that we have won our independence from Great Britain. I just wish that we could do more to stop the oppressive regime of Great Britain. Our new country knows more than any other country that King George III, and also the monarchy, is one of the most evil, oppressive regimes in the entire world. It would be an incredible feat if we could completely knock them down to their knees. Yes, sir, I agree. It would be very nice to completely destroy the monarchy and end their oppression. But how on earth could we possibly do that? Does anyone have any idea on how we could stop them? Well, I mean, we could continue to stay at war with them. Maybe we could possibly go up into Canada and take some land there. That would definitely weaken their power. Excuse me, kind gentlemen. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. President, but that would hurt us economically. And if we lost that war, we would be back where we started. Okay, Alexander Hamilton, thank you so much for giving your opinion, and thank you also for not singing it in front of us. However, gentle sir, do you have an idea on how we could stop the oppression of Great Britain? Yes, Mr. President, of course I have an idea. What we could do is we could simply just let Great Britain be Great Britain. And if they aren't bothering us, then it's all chip chip cheerio, I say. No. That idea might work with other countries, but for Britain, we must destroy the monarchy 100%. I'm sorry, Alexander Hamilton, but I have to agree with Thomas Jefferson here. We must destroy the monarchy, but the question still stands. How? And pardon me for interrupting, but I think I might have a very good idea. Oh yes, Benjamin Franklin, please, tell us your strategy. Well, what if we got an American to marry a British royal, and then she accuses the crown of such diabolical acts, such as systemic racism, bigotry, sexism, and other things. Then the papers get a hold of it, and the monarchy will sure to fail. Mr. Franklin, that might be one of the most ridiculous ideas that I've ever heard, but it just might work. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 61st episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. So, I know that some of you are probably really confused about the title of this episode, and also the little opening video. We will definitely get to talking about Joe Biden very soon. However, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the whole Prince Harry and Meghan Markle interview with Oprah. Now, I know what you're thinking. Kyle, do you even really care about the monarchy of Great Britain? And to that, I have to say this.
Not one bit.
But apparently, it is still an important story, I guess. So let's get this over with. Now, with this story, what makes me truly upset about it is the idea that every single person that is sitting in this interview is a millionaire. And everyone is like, wow, Meghan Markle is so brave. Wow, Prince Harry is so brave. I mean, I thought the left hated millionaires. But apparently, if you speak this woke agenda, you can be forgiven of your richness. For the past few years, the left has gone on and on and on and on about this idea of privilege. There's white privilege, there's white male privilege, there's male privilege, there's other people privilege I don't know about. The left has called the idea of privilege a terrible thing in a society, and how society is bad because some people have more privilege than other people. With this interview, however, every single one of these people have this idea of privilege that the left hates. Oprah has privilege, as she is extremely wealthy. She's able to buy million-dollar mansions, and she is able to live a lavish lifestyle. Prince Harry also has this privilege, as he was literally a prince who lived his life as a royal in a castle and had everything handed to him. You can't tell me that he had it rough. Last but not least, Meghan Markle has privilege, as she was able to give up her career of being a Hollywood actress to becoming a literal princess, but apparently that wasn't good enough, as she was oppressed by the royal family. People want me and others to feel bad for both Harry and Meghan, But no, I don't feel bad at all for them. And honestly, I could care less about this story. Harry and Meghan are a bunch of little brats. I'm shocked that they haven't released a video of them crying into their millions of dollars. Seriously, this story is just ridiculous. And I'm already sick of talking about it because I could care less about the royal family. And with this story, I thank the Lord that we got away from the monarchy when we did. And I am so glad that these rich snobs are not our leaders. This story also emphasizes the whole woke culture that we have been going through right now for the past few weeks. It is time to stop talking about the royals, especially when there is a real crisis happening in our own country. All I can say now, I guess, is God save the Queen. Okay, so now that we got that rant over with, it is now time to dive into the serious news of the week, as there is a crisis that is happening right now in our country, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. And this is about the southern border. Now, when Joe Biden entered office, he promised a reversal of all of Trump's terrible, racist, evil, horrible immigration policies. Joe Biden did this in his very first week of office with a swipe of a pen. However, with these rule changes, some immigrants thought that this meant that the United States border was open, so they could just walk right in. And now we are starting to see that the border is getting overrun with people. For some context here, according to officials during the Obama administration, the standard for claiming that you had a border crisis was when 1,000 attempted crossings were happening a day. Now, I mentioned the Obama administration as Joe Biden was a part of it and followed this policy. However, with Joe Biden, now as the president, things at the border have become a lot worse. According to Heritage.com, in less than a month under Biden, the number of people illegally coming into the country is more than 6,000 a day. Using basic math, this is 6 times higher than what the Obama administration considered to be a crisis. This in return is putting stress on the border and the people that are trying to defend it. Another big issue that we are seeing at the border is that some of these immigrants that are coming over have COVID-19 and are still being released into the country. As one source in the Department of Homeland Security estimates, 15% to 25% of people that illegally cross the border are COVID positive. Along with this, Felipe Romero, a spokesman for Brownsville, Texas, said 185 migrants rapid tested at the city's main bus station showed that they were infected with COVID-19. If we are trying to end the pandemic, this is not a way to do it, as from the beginning of this pandemic, our borders have been closed for this reason. There were different travel bans from America to Europe. The border between America and Canada was shut off. You couldn't go there unless you were a citizen. However, if you really needed to go into another country, then that country would make you quarantine for 14 days to make sure that you didn't have COVID-19. And this is not what is happening at the southern border. And this could mean trouble for the border agents and also for other people that are trying to enter the country. Even if they are entering illegally, they still don't deserve to get COVID. This is a humanitarian crisis that needs to be fixed fast. However, the sad reality is that it's only getting worse for poor old Joe, as both President Obama and Donald Trump had a very interesting problem at the southern border. And this was with the idea of kids in cages, which was never really a good look for both men. And now the problem with children coming across the border is that the Border Patrol doesn't know where to put them. You can't just let a 5-year-old go into the desert and try to survive on their own. For these kids, the best chance of survival is to be put in a holding facility. And this is how the cages started during the Obama administration, and then became more controversial with the Trump administration, even though all the pictures that the left used were from 2014, when Obama was president. However, now it looks like the Biden administration is following in the footsteps of both the Obama and Trump administration when it comes to kids at the border, as it was reported recently that an overflow facility would be opened in Texas. And along with this, the situation just keeps getting worse, as it was reported by NPR that a record 3,400 children have come across the border into America. And this was a lot faster than the Biden administration expected. So because of this, there was another overflow facility that was opened in Florida. And in 2019, this same facility was opened up under Donald Trump. And then, in the past, Senator Kamala Harris visited that facility and said none of us would want this for our children. Along with this, Senator Elizabeth Warren visited this facility and she called it a stain on our country. Along with this, Elizabeth Warren also called this same facility a concentration camp. In fact, during the Trump administration, this was a common attack. And now these places are open again. And none of these same Democrats are calling out these different facilities. I mean, Kamala Harris is the vice president. She should be able to talk to Joe Biden and say, hey, why did you open up that concentration camp again? I also find it extremely funny how the mainstream media, along with all of these Democrats, call these new facilities overflow facilities, when under Trump, they were called kids in cages and also concentration camps. And we can definitely tell that there is some level of hypocrisy. And the issue is that this is still a crisis that needs to be fixed. As when Obama was president, there needed to be a solution at the border. When Donald Trump was president, there needed to be a situation at the border. And now with Joe Biden, there needs to be a solution at the border as well. So, you are probably wondering, what has Joe Biden said about this different situation happening at the border? Well, not too much. Well, I mean, the media has asked him questions about the situation. However, something very interesting happens whenever Joe Biden is asked a very tough question. Just take a look at this video.
And then if I could just...
Let's go, you guys. Come on, Press. We're gonna move out. Let's go. Guys, let's go. Come on, Press. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Crisis at the border, sir. Let's go, you guys. Come on. Come on, let's go.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
So Joe Biden was asked by the media about this crisis happening at the border, and the press is asked to leave. And Joe Biden was never even able to answer the question. I'm not even sure if he was able to hear the question over all of the shouting. It's not that he doesn't want to answer the question about the border. The problem is that no one is letting him answer the questions. As we can see that his team rushed the press out, avoiding all questions. This then leads all of the questions to go to circle back to that Jen Psaki, who sometimes doesn't have all the answers. Now, for right now, this seems to be a theme for the Biden administration. It was reported by The Week that Joe Biden has failed to schedule a full press conference. It is reported that Biden has gone longer without facing extended questions from reporters than any of his 15 predecessors over the past 100 years. This is a very interesting fact, and it makes us wonder why. Why is it that when Joe Biden is on a video conference with Nancy Pelosi and he says, hey, I'm willing to answer some questions, the live feed shuts off? It just seems very, very, very strange. Is there a possibility that Joe Biden's team is nervous that Joe Biden is going to misspeak and accidentally say something that he really isn't supposed to say? Then his team has to go through the hassle to come and pick up the pieces, which is usually not a very fun situation. So instead of putting them in that situation, they just say, Joe Biden's not answering any questions right now. And this also makes some Americans ask the question, where is Joe Biden? Why are they hiding him? And is there something that is going on behind the scenes that we don't know about? Are they hiding Joe Biden for a reason? This is where we speculate just a little bit, as many are wondering if Joe Biden might be giving more power to Kamala Harris, his vice president, as it has been reported that her role in the Biden administration has been very large, which really isn't a bad thing, it's just very unique. And according to the New York Post, Vice President Harris has been speaking with foreign leaders, like French President Emmanuel Macron, after a talk earlier this month with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, as well as the World Health Organization director. Now, I want to make sure that something is very, very clear here. It is 100% fine for Harris to do this, as of course other VPs have called other world leaders before. However, Kamala Harris seems to be talking to more world leaders than past vice presidents. Kamala Harris's presence is also known, as when Joe Biden makes big speeches or signs a bill, she is always right next to him. And to me personally, it seems like this administration is the Biden-Harris administration. It's not just the Biden administration. I mean, even before they were sworn into office, Time magazine named both of them the Person of the Year, which is kind of confusing. And I mean, if we go back and look at the Trump administration, of course Pence did different things, but he seemed to be more in the background. Kamala Harris is different. There is a possibility that the Biden administration is preparing the country for a possible Harris administration. Now, once again, to be 100% clear, this is all speculation on my part, but it honestly makes sense to me. Joe Biden is 78 years old, and when he runs for president again, he will be in his early 80s, which will be something that our country has never seen before. We can already see that Joe Biden has declined. I mean, he isn't as sharp as he used to be. And that just comes from age. That's nothing against him. So, putting Kamala Harris on the TV screen, having her speak to different world leaders, giving her the experience that she needs to take over if something terribly wrong happens to Joe Biden is sort of a good idea. Now, I don't want anything terrible to happen to Joe Biden, as I honestly hope that he's able to fulfill his term and live a long and happy life. There is, however, another possibility, and this is that the Democratic Party is setting up for a Harris presidency after Joe Biden has left office. Could you imagine the situation after 4 years, Joe Biden decides that he is not going to run again because he might think that he's too old and he just wants to retire. So he drops out of the race, but he is campaigning for Kamala Harris, saying that she has the experience to be president because he gave her such a big role in his administration, and he knows she is ready to lead. Once again, I will admit, I am not a conspiracy theorist at all, but to me, this idea just makes sense, and this could be the reason why they are deciding to hide Joe Biden. Joe Biden is older, so he gives some weight to Kamala Harris to, one, help Joe Biden complete his agenda, and for two, to prepare Kamala Harris to become the president, whether that be through Joe Biden passing away, Joe Biden calling it quits after his first term, or even if Joe Biden wins both terms and then Kamala Harris takes over after Joe Biden's 8 years. I will be honest, this seems like a good strategy for the Democrats, as it seems that they are building for the future of their party, as they continue to promote this crazy woke agenda. This could also explain why Joe Biden has not had a real press conference in a very long time, because his people are scared that he will mess up and say something dumb. Like, for example, poor kids are just as bright and just as smart as white kids. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created by, you know the thing. And of course, the hairy legs comment. The Biden team doesn't want that, so what they do is protect him from the press by chasing them away and also pushing for a Kamala Harris presidency. In the end, I want to reiterate that I do not care about the royal family, and what we should be focusing on is the real crisis at hand. This has to do with the border that is being overrun, and no one is talking about it, not even the president. It is time for the president to answer questions from the press about these different situations that are going on. It is time for Joe Biden to have an actual press conference. No teleprompter in front of him, just him talking to the American people. Now, when I say that Joe Biden is being hidden, he's not being 100% hidden, as he will come out and make big speeches and then he will go away, with, of course, not answering any questions from the media. And this happened recently, as on Thursday, he made a great big speech on COVID-19 and the 1-year anniversary of COVID hitting America. To me, it seems like the COVID pandemic is almost over, which is a very, very good thing. But we might just have to wait to talk about that in another episode, because I believe that the end is nigh for COVID-19. And I also just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.